I'd like to ask each of the speakers here tonight to give us roughly a 5-minute outline of their positions with regard to TVNZ and public television in general. And it's appropriate that I should start with Clare Curran.
Well, hello everyone. It's great to have such a good turnout here tonight. And I'd like to first of all acknowledge my Labour colleague Jacinda Ardern, who's standing down the back there. And also my former Labour colleague in Parliament, Carol Beaumont, who's sitting right there. Put your hand up. So there's a few of us from Labour here tonight. Hands up, those of you who watched Backbenchers in the last couple of weeks. Oh, good, very good, very good. Well, I'm sorry today that I didn't bring the Goodnight Kiwi with me. I hope that you saw the Goodnight Kiwi on Backbenchers over the last couple of weeks, and I actually don't think he'll quite fit in that coffin. But he is an important symbol and motif, I suppose, for this campaign, which is that it's about all of us and it's about what it means to be a Kiwi. 4.5 years ago, a Labour government invested $79 million in TVNZ6 and TVNZ7. And they were important little channels that were new and that were taking us into the digital environment. And there was a lot of hope invested in those channels. And on the 30th of June, TVNZ will be switched off by a national government and replaced with reruns of TVNZ. And that's why we're all here tonight. What the government says is that it can't afford it, we don't need it, that no one watches it, that those who do are part of an elite, and that public broadcasting can be delivered anyway, and is being delivered anyway by New Zealand On Air. Now, all of those arguments are rubbish, absolute rubbish. And I know that other speakers will talk about the value of public broadcasting to our nation, the absolute importance of it, and the fact that there is 1.4 million people, New Zealanders, who actually are watching TVNZ every month, TVNZ7 every month. Now that's more than watching a number of channels on Sky, around about the same or perhaps more than watching Māori TV. It is performing a very important place. It plays a very important part in our media environment. And it's only been around for 4.5 years and it's growing in importance. Overseas, the BBC, which is hardly comparable to TVNZ7, but the UK government invests $4.6 billion every year in the BBC. In Australia, $912 million a year into the ABC, $16 million a year for TVNZ7. It's not much. Last week, the Australian government announced in their budget that they were going to invest a further $200 million plus in both SBS, the ethnic channel, and the ABC. They put a value on public broadcasting. This government doesn't. So I introduced a private members bill last week, and it is essentially, if it gets drawn from the ballot, it will save TVNZ7 by providing funding direct to be paid by TVNZ, but ensuring its independence from TVNZ. So I guess we have to ask ourselves, I mean, that is an interim measure, and I hope there will be some discussion around that, because we need sustainable funding for public broadcasting in this country, and Labour is committed to that. There is a real debate to be had about how that sustainable funding should occur. But I think if we ask ourselves, do we put a value on public broadcasting, and how much would we pay? How much should we pay? That's what the debate we should be having now, not whether or not we're going to switch it off on the 30th of June. So I ask you all tonight to support the Save TVNZ campaign, to tell the government what you think, to sign the petition, to attend these meetings around the country. This is the first of, I think, 7 or 8 meetings that are happening, and they seem to be growing every day. To write letters to your local newspapers, and possibly turn up, if you can, to Parliament on the 29th of June, which is the last sitting day before TVNZ7 gets cut off. I've always thought of New Zealand as being a plucky country. This government seems intent, by killing off public broadcasting, by turning us into drones. I think that we have to run a loud public debate around these issues if we want to keep something that is extremely valuable to us. Let's not have our kids growing up on American TV and speaking with American accents. Let's not fill our screens every night with reality shows based on formulas that have been developed overseas. Fine that we have them, but let's have choice of other things as well, particularly content that's developed by Kiwis and is about Kiwis, that's quirky, that's interesting, that's funny, challenging, intelligent, and thought-provoking. We need more people like Wallace Chapman, who runs backbenchers. We need to be nurturing that sort of talent in this country, and we're not. And killing off TVNZ7 is killing off that sort of talent. So let's decide that public television is important to our nation, to our identity, and let's keep TVNZ7, let's fund it properly, and let's be proud of who we are. Thanks.